Nike Vaporfly 3, an OG in the game. But there's also a lot of other great race shoes on the market. And if you are looking for a new race shoe, make sure to check out the Supwell app. You can get recommendations on what race shoe to buy from others who have your similar mechanics or your size, running your paces. You can post a question and say, hey, I'm 6'3", looking to do a 3:45 marathon. What race shoe should I get? And you can also trade, buy, sell running shoes. And we got lots of great inventory. So if you're looking for a new race shoe, make sure to check out the Supwell app. Link is in the description below. It's $1 a month. Best hobby jogger community out there. Best place to connect. And low key or high key, best place for running motivation. You know why? Because community, accountability, and positivity. I know people say no cap, but we say yes cap. Community, accountability, positivity. Yes cap on the Supwell app. If you want to connect and up your best, that's where to go. Those are some of the emotional benefits of the Supwell app. Yesterday I was talking about the functional benefits. Emotional benefits: connect with others. Get inspired to run. Feel the good vibes. All right, let's get into it. Should you do Larry June or Boldy James?
Boldy.
You want to do Boldy?
I think
No, it's this one.
Take it out. I take it out. Daddy.
All right, ready?
Yeah. I will take. I will take.
Dude, this thing is sick.
Oh, wait, Dad.
This is the volume. That's going to be super loud. So let's leave it right there and then press it. Yep.
Mr. 1008.
Can we do
Blockworks. To a track from a tuner to a baseboard. Now I cut up 288 8-boards. Know some real.
Daddy, I want to do
You want to do a car wash? Because we're hanging out. Maybe we could do a car wash tomorrow. What do you think? What'd you say? Love?
Bears on the compound. I'm just trying to stay like it was just me and 8-board. You see my bricks in China stacked in the baseboard. They had emotion.
What do you think, buddy?
That one.
This one?
Yeah.
Listening to the new Rome Streets Derringer. I like Rome Streets, but I also feel that he's trying to rap me to death. Every time I listen to him, it's just hard to listen to a full album. It's a great feature artist, but it's like da 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 da. You gotta let it breathe, bro. Supwell Music channel coming summer 2025. You know what I learned? I learned we were the most viewed running shoe review channel last month, so I guess I gotta hit up another niche soon. Nike Vaporfly 3. Man, so I've been feeling like this shoe and the Nike Vaporfly in general, we got people out here putting in the work, is a little bit disrespected. My guy Melkisa Mengesha, who won the Berlin Marathon, you know what he was wearing? A pair of Vaporflies. But were they the 3? No. They were the Vaporfly 2. And I've been feeling like since this shoe dropped, actually, the Vaporfly 2 is a little bit of a better choice, and the elites, most of them who are Vaporfly folks, are going for the 2 over the 3. That's not the case with the Alphafly. A lot of the Nike athletes who like Alphafly are going 3, other than Kipchoge. He was always a 2 guy. And it's kind of what happened to the Alphafly, though. The 1 was the great shoe. The 2 was the one that got a little bit heavier. It was designed specifically for Kipchoge. Not a lot of people loved it. And then the 3 came around and swung it back around. In the case of the Vaporfly, the 1 and the 2 were relatively similar, and then the 2 came along, the 3 came along, and I learned last night that this actually went up 2 millimeters in stack height. I learned that on Running Warehouse. From the 2 to the 3, the Vaporfly went up 2 millimeters in stack height. And I've been saying since this came out, it felt softer. It felt like it takes a little bit more force to compress this foam here. It doesn't have that same aggressive Hornet-like character that I loved out of the 2. But it's still a good shoe, and I went this entire block without running in it. This entire block, I even did a full Nike week, spotlighting Nike shoes, and I didn't run in it. So this morning I wanted to take the Nike Vaporfly out, put some respect on the Nike Vaporfly. This thing is the OG. The Vaporfly is what sparked this entire category of carbon-plated marathon racing shoes. The Vaporfly 1. And now you have every single brand out there with a carbon-plated shoe. Even brands like Tyr, God of War, over there on the swim side. Brands like Salomon, who are known for trail racing. Brands like Newton. Do you guys know Newton? With the weird lugs? Not the Master P lugs, but they have a different lugs shoe brand. They have a carbon-plated shoe. A lot of brands have carbon-plated shoes in 2024, and there's so many different takes on it. The Vaporfly represents that lightweight, more traditional, streamlined version of the shoe. It is one of the lightest weight racing shoes still. The Asics Metaspeed shoes are a little bit lighter, but they also do some trickeration with the sizing so that it's probably roughly equivalent. And this is one of the softest shoes. So very light, very soft, very narrow. And that's the thing with the ZoomX foam. With it being light and soft and compressing as much as it does, it's not super supportive. So that's one of the reasons this is not recommended as a hobby jogger race shoe. And when you're thinking about the elites, a lot of the elites, at least the ones that we are following, like to put down more power into this shoe, have a more aggressive running style, especially on the men's side. A lot of those guys, the more popular Nike athletes, are going for the Alphafly. On the women's side, I actually do see more people racing in the Vaporfly. But today we're going to take this out for a little workout, and I want to do a comparison with this to some of the other shoes to see just how it stacks up and put some respect. Put some respect on the Vaporfly. Last thing, speaking of putting respect on things. So we were at soccer the other day, on Wednesday. Mace's soccer team, she's 5. And it's mixed boys, girls on the same team. And the boys were just getting rambunctious and disrespectful. And the coach said, all right, guys, I want to have a fun practice. We can either do drills, we can do fun drills, or we can run. Who just wants to run all practice? And Mason's hand shot up. I just thought that was so funny. She thinks running is cool. Everyone else thinks running doesn't stink. But running doesn't stink. Running can be fun. And I think the Vaporfly 3 can be fun. That's why people like this shoe. But let's see what it can give us compared to everything else on the market. The last run I did in this was 22-mile long run with some marathon pace. No, it was no marathon pace. It was a 22-mile long run, all at a relaxed pace. And I felt that it was a little bit unstable and narrow. But this morning we're going to go a little bit faster pace pickup. And I'll see. Maybe it will surprise me. I've been running in the Alphafly a lot. I've put 130-something miles on the Alphafly this year. I've put probably 40 miles or fewer on the Vaporfly this year. So one last dance with the Nike Vaporfly. We got to put some respect on the OG. Hold on. This is the other thing. Take a look at this. So someone was asking me about this. If you are any sort of a heel striker, you're going to completely tear up the back foam here. Now this one is actually pretty bad, but if you scrape it all in the back, you can tear up this foam here. Any exposed ZoomX really gets chewed up. So that's the thing with this shoe as well, with how they've done the rubber. It's lightweight, but not the most durable. So this is not going to be a shoe that you want to put a ton of miles on before race day. Let's take this one. Is a little bit better. All right, lacing up the Nike Vaporfly here. By the way, this is the Elliot Kipchoge edition. Look at this, pretty sick. So inside the right shoe, it has a time 12, I can't read it backwards, 12:52.79, August 31st, 2003, Paris, France. That's a race that he won in 2003. That's how long the GOAT has been doing it, since 2003. A race that he won on the track. And look, inside here it says no human is limited. And then his signature is back here. Is there one more thing? One more? Oh yeah, and then there's a quote inside, a quotation, more like a goatation. I believe in a philosophy whereby you are climbing a tree and reaching for the next branch. Let us forget our successes of the past and focus all our efforts on the future. Bars! Rome streets, more like Elliot Kipchoge. Bro, I need that Kipchoge Alchemist collab album. That would be fire. That would be absolute fire. Could you imagine? Yeah, lacing these up here, the whole lace situation is, I really don't want to do it, but there's no other word that can explain how offset it is, right? It's a skew and a scant to the side. It's not right off the top. The upper is nice, but it overall has this very narrow vibe to it. And that's why this shoe fell off in terms of being the #1 hobby jogger recommendation, because when it first dropped, it was the only option, and then there were a few options. There's brands like New Balance who came out with the racing shoes, and Adidas. For a while, this was the go-to, but as other brands have started coming out with racing shoes and innovating, we've seen stability, width, and comfort really get amped up. Specifically thinking of Hoka Cielo X1, SC Elite V4, even the Adidas Adios Pro 3, and now the Pro 4. A lot wider than this, a lot more comfortable. And specifically in the back, you can see here as I'm just standing, it is very wobbly. It is very wobbly. Watch this. Watch this. I'll walk in this and you'll see how narrow the heel is. Yeah, very narrow compared to a lot of the more modern shoes that are coming out. And whenever I put this on, it always has this more traditional feel to it. Both this and the Vaporfly 2, and that's what these two shoes, or this shoe has retained. The spirit of this shoe is stripped down, streamlined, no frills, especially thinking of shoes like the Cielo X1 with these crazy rockers and all the foam. There's not a crazy rocker on here. It does feel a little bit more traditional in that it has a higher drop. And even as I'm walking here, I can feel, take a look at the front and how little foam there is right at the front. That's where my toe is, my thumb toe, the big toe, is right here. There's only about 5 millimeters of foam, so I can really feel my toe pushing off. And this is a more flexible, controlled feeling shoe than a lot of the other Max Stack, Max Cushion Gang race shoes. So this is almost a Barefoot Mafia shoe. It feels way lower stack than a lot of the other race shoes on the market, especially given how much the Zoom X compresses. Now look at this. Yeah, so light, narrow, streamlined, stripped down, all of those words to suggest that there's not a lot of substance here compared to some of the newer shoes, but that can be a good thing, especially when we're trying to run fast. So plan for today, we are going to get 12 miles. I'm going to do a little bit of a workout in between, and we're going to see if this bad boy can really rip. I have not run a workout in this in, maybe about a year. I raced a half marathon in this, got my half marathon PR last October. And then when the Cielo X1 came out, I did a head-to-head comparison with this. But since then, I think I've only done the 22-mile long run in it. And that was no pace at all. So today will be good little reacquaintance with it, and a nice way to finish out the marathon training block, putting some respect on the OG of the marathon race segment. Bang! Fredo in the cut. That's a scary sight. All right, man, so we're a few minutes in here. I'm trying to put some respect on the Vaporfly, but I've got to say, at these slower paces, this is why it's not a great hobby jogger race shoe. It just doesn't feel like much of anything. At my warm-up pace, I'm going probably 7:30 or 8. And I know you got to get it going to feel something, but yeah, the foam isn't giving me that much balance. It also feels like the Zoom X in here just is compressed a lot. But the last time I ran in the shoe, I felt the same way. So we've just got to see how it does with some faster pace. It's Charlie and the mom wagon. I have no idea where they're going. Tell him. Hey, shout out to this nonagenarian putting in the absolute work. Alright, mile 1, 7:33 pace. Man, I'm trying to put some respect on the Nike Vaporfly right now. It just feels flat and unforgiving. And I know it's gonna, well, I don't know. I'm hoping it's gonna come to life as I get some more miles in pace in this run. But the foam just feels a little lifeless. And I'm not getting much pop. Man, this is disappointing so far, for sure. My last few runs in this have all been very disappointing. All right, we just hit mile 2, 7:13 pace. And this thing, I feel like it wants me to land a very specific way. It's not necessarily forefoot strike or midfoot strike or heel strike. It's just popping off the plate in a certain way. And if I can hit the plate just so, it works well. Otherwise, it just feels a little bit weird to run in. Weird and disjointed. And I'm definitely thinking a whole lot about what's on my foot. A little bit of a choppy ride so far. Not a smooth shoe. And that's what rockers are so good at doing. Giving a nice smooth ride. I'm just thinking a whole lot about how I can make the shoe work. Just threw in a quick stride. Also practicing with some Morton to get the race day feeling down. And it definitely feels better once we get that high turnover in. So higher cadence, getting the legs moving. It's not a power shoe. It's a float like a butterfly, sting like a bee type of shoe. I'm gonna do another little stride here. Yeah, it wants me to be super light on my feet and super fast feet, quick feet. That's what this shoe is. I'm gonna do a few more strides, then we can hit the workout portion. Also, by the way, doing these little faster surges before a workout, or even just during an everyday run, they can really help shake off that dreary doldrums feeling. If your legs are feeling like molasses, just do a few 10-second surges of pace. It really helps. All right, we're almost at mile 4. Today's workout, 6 miles of pace. First mile at threshold, then 2 at marathon pace, 1 mile at threshold, and then 2 at marathon pace. So 1, 2, 1, 2, fast, marathon, fast, marathon. We're on the clock once this thing beeps. I wish I were in the endorphin elite, honestly. First mile, 5:44. All right, we're settled into marathon pace here. 6:04, 6:05. Still doesn't feel like I could run this backwards blindfolded, but I know this pace pretty well. First marathon pace mile, 6:05. And now we have a hill. Keep the mustard on the dog, baby. Let's go. Mobbing. Another threshold mile. Ooh, 5:43. And I'll drop back down to marathon pace for the last 2. All right, last mile here. Paces have been spot on. Just 1 more to go at marathon pace. She was not having it. She almost ran me down in the Subaru. Barefoot Mafia gang drinking Diet Pepsi in a Subaru Outback. More like lower your worst, am I right? Let's go. Let's go. Waist Pro on a Friday. Waist Pro on a Friday. Putting in work. Putting in work. No cam left behind. Let's go. I don't think he knew what I was saying. All right. That was a 6:03 on the last mile. One of the things I said I wanted to work on this block For anyone who watched the Cloud Boom Strike first run review, the 24 miler was preparation. Dialing in little things like paces, being prepared to run a certain pace, holding myself to execute these workouts a certain way so I feel prepared. And over the past few weeks, some days the effort has felt appropriate, some days the effort has felt out of whack, way too high. About a month ago, threshold pace in the 530s was feeling smooth, and now it's feeling tough at 545. Those are just the highs and lows of life. We can't control how we feel, but I can control my approach to these workouts, and I ran that essentially perfectly. And you can do that no matter what your fitness is, no matter if you're running 15-minute miles or 5-minute miles. And I don't always try to run these workouts like this where I'm hitting these paces exactly, but I want to make sure I'm prepared, especially because this isn't a fitness building workout. It's more of a mental workout, a tune-up, keeping that marathon pace alive in the system, have the legs know what it feels like. So I went 5:44 on the first mile, threshold pace for my VDOT, or my level of fitness. Threshold pace for my level of fitness is 5:45. I went 5:44. And then on the marathon miles, I went 6:05, 6:04, I think it was, up the hill on that 6:04. And then threshold on the next one was a 5:43 or 5:44. And then I went something like 6:05, 6:05. So control what we can control. You can't always control hitting paces exactly, but today I was able to do that. Effort felt kind of off, but all I could do is stay in it, keep the mustard on the dog, not quit, and run the paces controlled, which is what we did. So that was a success. Now for the shoes, we'll talk about the shoes when we're back up there. Yeah, I cannot wait for this whole Chicago Marathon business to be over. I do not like the marathon. 12 miles, 6:48 pace, 1 hour, 22 minutes, 22 seconds. You know why I don't like the marathon? I don't like the marathon because it rewards the smart people. It's the smart people's race. And actually, my whole life, I thought I was a nerd. And then it turns out I'm a jock. The marathon rewards the people who can go out conservative. Who can run the least the right way in the 2 weeks leading up to this race? Who can get the exact right number of carbohydrates? Who can hit the sweet potato loading protocol appropriately for... That's why I hate the gosh dang marathon, man. All I know is go out and go hard. The marathon does not reward that. The marathon rewards be smart, be conservative, run less. I just like running. I don't like racing. I like running. And I like just going out here and vibing. The marathon is the opposite of vibes. The marathon is structure, and if you like reading textbooks and having no fun, you might be a good marathoner. I don't know what distance I'm optimized for, but it is not the marathon, let me tell you that. You guys know the reason I'm doing the Chicago Marathon? It's because my best friend from college, Dante, he lives in LA. We used to be roommates back in the day, and we lived in the same house for a few years. He asked me if I wanted to do it with him. And I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. So he's a sub-4 marathoner. That's the reason I even got back on the whole marathon train last year. This is not my idea. I don't know what I'm going to train for after Chicago. It's not going to be the marathon. I think people think I like the marathon because I like running a lot and I run 100-mile weeks. I might mess around, bust down a 5K after this on some 130-mile weeks. This marathon business is complete shenanigans. Shenanigans. Oh, who has the best fueling strategy? Bro, this ain't a McKinsey case study. This is a gosh dang athletic pursuit. Man, forget them. I hate them. I'm done with this. You've got to cut your mileage 77% in the week leading up. No, you've got to cut it 83%. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I'm insulting 98% of the population of subscribers to the Supwell app. I love everybody. I love the nerds. I love the jocks. I think the hobby jogger lifestyle brings the nerds and the jocks together, you know? We got the guys who love pouring over spreadsheets and hitting paces exactly. I'm going to run 113% of marathon pace today. And then we got the guys who just want to go out and go hard. I thought the dog was gonna pee on the Trisha Cotham sign. He was just looking at it. Oh, she's going the other way. You can come in my frame. It's okay. I think I scared him off. All right, here's the deal with the Vaporfly 3. This thing is like the Lil Pump of running shoes, man. It was hot in 2017, and then it fell off. The fall off of the Vaporfly needs to be studied. So this is what we did today. Let's throw it up. We did 12 miles. 6 of that were at a really good clip. First mile of that working session was 5:44 threshold. And then I did 2 marathon pace miles around 6:04, 6:05. Another threshold pace, and then 2 more marathon pace. And here's the thing with the marathon pace, man. You can train for whatever marathon pace you want, and you can just decide, hey, I want to run a sub 3 marathon, I want to run a 250 marathon, and you can train for that, and you can hold whatever pace, but it's not over till it's over. So my plan for the marathon, for anyone who's curious, I'm just gonna not rip out the gates, smooth, controlled out the gates, 6:05. My plan is hold those 6:05s for 16 miles and then see what happens, man. This is the thing about the marathon. This is what I'm joking about. I hate the marathon. I'm not really joking. I do hate it. There's a lot of mental strategery and trickeration, protocols, tapering. They're this and they're that. I don't like it. I just want to go out and go hard, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and go medium for 16 miles. I did a 16-mile run at a 5:57 pace a few weeks ago. That was a pretty good effort. That was within a 130-mile week. So I'm just going to go out, hold 6:05s, and I'd rather go out like Icarus than like use your imagination. We ain't going out sad, that's for sure. If I'm going out, I'm going to go out swinging. So talk about going out swinging. I told you, this is like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The issue with the Vaporfly 3, though, and why we might not need to... bless me. Why we might not need to put respect on the Vaporfly 3 and why maybe we should be talking a little bit more about the Vaporfly 2 here is these are 2 very different shoes. So as I was saying up at the top, this is the shoe that Melkisa Mangesha wore to win the Berlin Marathon. It feels a little bit more put together. This is the Vaporfly 2. Something about the foam in this guy, it feels less soft, but bouncier at the same time. It doesn't feel as squishy and squirrely. It feels a lot more Hornet-like, and you can see, look at the forefoot of the 3 versus the 2 here. It's a little bit hard to see here, but there is significantly more foam, specifically right under the ball of the foot here, in the 3 than in the 2. And that gives the 2 a more lightweight, nimble feel. It also just feels like it's strapped down to my foot better. I've just never gotten along with the 3, and today it reminded me why. It is just okay on every front. And for a while, the Vaporfly here was the only option, the only race shoe on the market, or the fastest race shoe on the market, especially when Nike had the market cornered on PIBA, polyether black amide, and a lot of the other brands hadn't quite caught up. But that's not the case anymore. And we first saw the veneer of dominance start to chip away. I got a whole box here. Watch this. Start to chip away in the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. So this is the shoe that started winning over more hobby joggers. This was the best hobby jogger race shoe in 2022. And really up until 2022, oh, they're back already? I thought you were going to the Pumpkin Fest.
We decided to do it this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Where'd you go?
The library. It was really nice.
Oh, huh.
Which one?
What's that?
What did you like?
The Vaporfly.
Oh. Don't put some respect in the
So they went to the library and they're going to the pumpkin patch this afternoon. It would be fun to go, but someone put a 4:30 p.m. meeting on my calendar on a Friday afternoon. This is the thing I've been telling you guys this week. I keep having these meetings that are scheduled for 30 minutes and then they balloon to 90 because people just keep talking. And anyway, hobby jogger, let's talk about the shoes for a second. This was top of the pile for hobby jogger race shoes. The reason why it started stealing some share, look at this. Wider base than the Vaporfly, more stable, and the rocker. Those are all the elements that make a great hobby jogger race shoe. Stable, wider base, rocker, bouncy. That's not, I caught it like Randy Moss. You should have seen that. We're not getting any of that in the Vaporfly 3. Compare the Vaporfly 3 to the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. It's narrower, the foam doesn't feel as bouncy, and there's less of a rocker. And if you compare the current top shoe on the market, look at this. This is the top hobby jogger race shoe right now. In 2024, Cielo X1, even wider than the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Even more of a rocker, even bouncier foam. This shoe takes everything that's great in the Endorphin Pro 3 and just evolves it and amps it up. Meanwhile, it feels a little bit like the Vaporfly 3 is stuck in 2017. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. You know what I mean? And then you have other brands like Asics coming in and eating Nike's lunch in the fast and aggressive market. So if you're looking for that fast, lightweight, Hornet-like feel, the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris and Sky Paris are the shoes that, in my hobby jogger experience, accomplish that best in 2024. R.I.P. Kobe, man. I don't trust those things. So the Metaspeed Sky Paris and Edge Paris are both lighter than the Vaporfly. The Edge Paris has more of a rocker. It's like a more aggressive Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. You're gonna have to go half a size up. And I kind of wish maybe I'll pick up a pair on the Supwell Marketplace in half a size up because these are too tight for me. Next time I see an 11, if anyone has this Edge Paris 11, DM me on the Supwell app. I'll trade you for it. I think I actually saw a few. Maybe I'll do my own research. But if you have an 11 Edge Paris, let me know. But this has more of a rocker. The foam is a touch denser. That's the other thing with ZoomX and why it's not a great hobby jogger race shoe. I felt that throughout most of that run, I was just slamming into the ground. It's harsh, it's unforgiving, and if you have really light touch mechanics, it will work well for you. But again, for us hobby joggers out there who are on the bigger side, now we do have lighter, faster, more efficient hobby joggers too, but for me, this is not protective. Look at the difference here. The foam in the Cielo X1 is much denser. That does give it a heavier weight, but it means I can mash down. I can throw down some 550 pace at 6'2", and there are no elite marathoners who are 6'2". I know somebody's gonna come up, well, this guy was 6 foot. There are not a lot of elite marathoners who are 6'2". And running 5-minute pace at 6'2", for me personally, in the Vaporfly, not being a well-trained runner, being a self-taught runner with my own weird mechanics, this doesn't feel like it works all that well for me in something like bada boom, bada bang. The Alphafly, which is the other Nike race shoe, works a lot better. This feels more robust. This feels more substantial. It's wider. The plate is wider. It has more of a rocker. And because you have these pods in the front, that prevents that almost bottoming out feel. I feel like I bottom out the Vaporfly here. It is just, this foam is so low density, and that's something I never experienced in the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, which was my first race shoe, and even the Nike Vaporfly 2, which was my second race shoe. Something about this shoe, I didn't bottom it out as much, and I don't know if they even softened up the ZoomX compound a little bit in the 3, but something about the 3 just does not work as well as the 2. And even just squishing in this foam here, squishing in this foam with my hand versus the Vaporfly, it does, versus the 3, it does feel like the 2 is maybe a touch firmer. It's just overall more cohesive. So I started this video saying we need to put some respect on the Nike Vaporfly 3, but it's not the best at what it's trying to do. The last version accomplished that better. The last version was lighter, faster. There's other shoes on the market right now, like the ASICS shoes, like the Hoka Rocket X2, that give that more traditional lightweight feel, but with foam that's tuned a little bit better, more exciting. And I really want to get another run in the Edge Paris, but man. And then on the other side of the market, you have shoes like the Cielo X1, Nike's Alphafly, and the Adios Pro 3, and likely the Pro 4 as well, that are just much more robust and provide more support for us hobby joggers who need it. And that's the other thing, man, the stability on the Vaporfly here is just, because it's so narrow, I was working my ankle for sure. So this is a shoe where you gotta have some perfectly dialed in mechanics. I don't even know if it's perfect mechanics. You just have to be able to really work with this shoe. But in terms of the workout, I still executed it. You could do it in this shoe. You could run a workout in, I used to run all my workouts last year in the Rebel V3. So the shoe is only one piece of the equation. But man, this is a little bit of a disappointing shoe. I'm hoping that in the Vaporfly 4, they change the foam compound and make it denser. There's a theme here in all these shoes that I pulled out that are not the Nikes. The Adios Pro 3 with the Light Strike Pro, the Cielo X1 with Hoka's non-branded Piba.
There's only 684, and he's sending me pictures, and and he's just convinced that I'm getting totally ripped off, that it's a big scam. There is no 682, that's a condemned building, and la la la. And I'm like, okay.
Bro, she's doing deals. She's talking numbers. Doing real estate deals on a Friday, bada bang. All these foams are denser. So Vaporfly 4, hopefully we get a denser foam. I mean, it's crazy that even the elites aren't reaching for the 3, they're reaching for the 2. So a little bit of a miss on the 3. Every time I run in it, I'm excited for it because it is the Vaporfly and it's the OG, but the message is, man, just because you're the OG, just because you're the originator, if you get sloppy, the young bucks gonna come for your neck. The Adios Pro is not a young buck, but the Cielo X1 is a young buck. So this is the top, oh gosh. Yeah, top hobby jogger race shoe right now. This is eating the lunch of the Vaporfly. You're gonna start seeing a lot more of these at the races around you. The Alphafly is also a little bit more popular right now than the Vaporfly, and if you want that traditional Vaporfly feel, I would check out the ASICS shoes. They're not my favorite, but I don't know, they have that same narrowness thing. So if you're more of a 4-foot striker, or you like the narrow, very lightweight platforms, you will like these. I personally like a little bit more robust feeling. But that was today's video. I'm sorry that the Vaporfly fell off. Hopefully the next generation will be a little bit better. Marathon training. Shout out to all my nerds out there putting in work with their sweet potato protocols, man. I don't even know what to say. This block needs to be over. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Sign up for the Supwell app, $1 a month.
The Vaporfly is not for heel strikers. You didn't use it correctly. Oh, no. You disrespecting the legacy of the Vaporfly. Oh. Oh.